Christopher Morel could be the most interesting player on the Cubs entering 2024. Found out why next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. Best way to support the show is by listening every day on your preferred audio platform by pressing like and subscribing on YouTube as we make the push to 8,000 subs. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's Thursday episode, wow, the week is moving fast, is presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. We're going to return a segment later in the show. How much would it take? I finally have done the math on the Cubs' current luxury tax payroll, what they would, the room they have to get to the first couple thresholds before real penalties occur. And first, Sam, we're going to talk about Christopher Morel. This is the last episode of the week, pending any breaking news. And we're going to get into perhaps the most interesting player on this team, for better or for worse. And I think that's Morel.
Yeah, and I'm going to add in a little bonus, since we're not going to record for Friday, a little bonus best of the week for myself.
Ah, very nice.
Because I can do that. So, yeah, look, I've talked about Morel a lot this offseason on and off the air. I did a solo show. I believe it was a Christmas Day show while you were, Lord knows where you were. But,
well, is that what my Uncle Mike and Aunt Kathy's, man?
Yeah, I don't know what you were doing that night, but, I was working. So look, Morel he's a fascinating name because A, he shows flashes of brilliance, and B, because he has trade value. And I've talked about both a lot on our programs, Matt. And what I've concluded is he has a little bit more overall ability than I give him credit for. And I'm a little bit higher on him heading into 2024 than I was about 2 months ago. But I also think fans overestimate his trade value and what you can get back for him. For example, Christopher Morel for Emmanuel Clase. Would you do it? Yes or no?
That's a really hard one.
All right. Well, we don't have all day, so I will answer it.
I would say no.
So I would do it, but I think it's very debatable. But you want to know who would never do it?
Jed Hoyer.
Cleveland.
Oh.
Because his trade value isn't as high as you think. You look at what the Dodgers gave up for Glasnow. Remember, we were talking, would you do Morel straight up for Glasnow? You know who wouldn't? Tampa Bay. Remember when Bruce Levine came out in the early waves and said it could be a 1-for-1 for Juan Soto?
1-for-1 for Alonso.
Did you see what the Yankees gave up for Juan Soto? I don't think people quite grasp. Christopher Morel, at this point in his career, albeit has a tremendous ceiling, is not a headliner in a major deal. He's a piece. If I had to quantify his trade value with somebody we're all familiar with on the team, you want to know who it would be? It would probably be somebody like Hayden Wesneski.
Yeah, those are paired a lot this offseason with trades.
I think those two together, maybe Cleveland starts to answer the phone a little bit.
Sure, in a combo deal.
Yeah, but
they're similar. They are similar.
Each of them as their own entity is not. You look at how these trades go. Mm-hmm. When you wanted to go get a controllable pitcher like Pablo Lopez, you want to know what it cost Minnesota? It cost him Luis Arraez.
Yeah.
These
are great things to put into perspective, the past deals that have actually already been made. Yeah, that's great. Great job by you.
Yeah. So I really like Christopher Morel. Not as much as everybody else. I do have some trepidation about his his defense and his swing and miss, but you can catch that on my Christmas episode.
That's got to be why his trade value is much lower, right? Because he strikes out a lot, doesn't get on base that much, and he's mostly positionless, right?
Yeah, I think he's not super young for a prospect that's
he's 25,
as raw as he is. And yeah, he's limited, right? He doesn't steal a ton of bases. He can't play a ton of positions, and he can't play a position well, and he doesn't have he has a lot of holes in his swing, but his power, is very enticing. Like if you're the Mariners and you traded the Cubs, let's say Logan Gilbert, and Morel was the second or third guy you got in that deal, you feel great.
Right.
But you'd have to get a headlining prospect.
Well, and what do the other teams even view Morel as? Because it sounds like the Cubs are mostly going to use him as a DH if he returns in 2024. And I do think he is going to return.
I do too.
At this point. I have a quote from Craig Counsell coming up in a couple minutes. If a team valued him as a second baseman, let's say, then perhaps you would get some value back, maybe in the form of a starting pitcher. But again, a 1-for-1 deal is a fantasy.
I think he could get you back like a lower level controllable starting pitcher, like a Wisniewski.
Okay.
I don't think if you think you're calling the Mariners and saying, hey, Logan Gilbert, Morel's on the table, they're going to say, okay, what else you got?
Yeah. Haha. Very funny.
Yeah. What else you got?
Yeah, because that price is lower and for them for a pitcher of that stature. And Morel at third base, it starts with the feet and works up. His footwork is let's just put it like this, terrible from all reports and all indications. As we've talked about before, as Sam has eloquently put, if there was a baseball combine, Morel would maybe even win it in some of these competitions, especially velo across the infield, but you have to catch the ball first. And in terms of his fielding and being able to transfer it out of the glove, that's so much more than actually the velo across the diamond. And he's just not able to do it. He looked pretty good at second, but that's about it. Third is it's a long way away. It's a long route to see a path to him actually planting his flag there. And quite frankly, Morel in the outfield left a lot to be desired. So
he's left a lot to be desired everywhere he played, but maybe with Counsell, maybe some infield coordinators, maybe you develop. That's part of player development. As Counsell was saying, if he could be average at multiple positions, that makes him an above average defensive player. So get to average.
And it makes him a valuable player. Yeah. Here's Counsell. You could be the solution long-term both ways, manager Craig Counsell said. That's what I see with Morel. He can be the solution both ways, even a more valuable solution. The one thing I'll tell you, I do agree that playing one position every day is going to make you better at that position. I think that's true for sure. And that's maybe a little bit of the sacrifice you make. But I'd argue you're more valuable playing more positions and being versatile. Season to season, putting the team together, daily managing lineups. Versatility is good for everybody, I think. Close quote. Morel is under team control through 2028. We talk about the defense already. How about the power potential? He had 26 home runs last year, also hit the 11 in AAA for 37 total, if you want to be that person. And his FanGraphs projection for 24, 26 homers again. Slash line of which is average on base and slugging of 242, 309, 465. I think he could be a 30 home run guy. I know every now and then people bring up a number that starts with a 4. Could he be a 30, 40 homer player?
Yeah, and I think that projection's low because I think, and I was talking about this in my show, he has a better eye than people give him credit for. I think a 309 on base is too low.
That's really low.
The 240, I'm just going to bring out my handy dandy calculator here. The 240 average is fine, but if he can get to a 460 slug with a 330 on base, now you're talking about a guy that has a 790 OPS, and that's a real valuable piece.
Right.
For him to be valuable with his lack of defense, he really needs to be an 800 OPS guy.
Right.
Can he be a 30 home run guy? Yes, but at what cost? Can he do it? Can he play every day? last year, how many games did he play? He wasn't an everyday player down the stretch. He was matchup proof. Can you slot him in the lineup every single day? And
Right.
will he hit 30 plus home runs? Yes. But you want to know who else would hit 30 plus home runs if he played every day? Patrick Wisdom.
Sure.
Would come with a lot of strikeouts, would come with a lot of struggles. So Council's going to manage this well.
There's trade-offs.
I think Christopher Morel is going to be a good asset to the Cubs this year. And I think Craig Counsell's going to, those type of guys, those tweeners, Morel's a tweener, Madrigal's a tweener, Mastroboni, if he makes the clubs, a tweener, Wisdom, tweener. I think Craig Counsell's going to have a lot of success with those guys, putting them in spots to really succeed.
Coming up next, we reveal what the Cubs' current payroll right now is for the purpose of the luxury tax, and how many dollars they have to spend between the current payroll projection and some of those threshold tiers. We reveal that right after this. Today's episode is brought to you by Ibotta. Ibotta is a great app that you could use for your shopping. The new year for many people means resolutions to save money. So stop shopping without getting anything in return and start getting cash back on every purchase you make with Ibotta. Ibotta is a free app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from groceries to beauty supplies to toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Join the over 50 million savers and earn cash back every time you shop from 2,700 brands and retailers, including Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 for just trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Go to the Apple App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back. That's Ibotta, IBOTTA, and use code LOCKEDONMLB.
This episode is also brought to you by Jace Medical. I know we come to sports to escape from some of the crazy realities of real life, but can we talk just for a minute about preparing for real life? According to the FDA, pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right in the middle of the worst flu season in over a decade. That is scary. Thankfully, we'll be okay because of Jace Medical. The Jace case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses, including UTIs and respiratory infections, among others. Visit jacemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than it is today. Go to jacemedical.com, that's JASE Medical, and use code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your order.
The Cubs' payroll right now for the purpose of the luxury tax, according to FanGraphs roster resources, is $199 million. It's 198 and change. So for our calculations on this episode, we're going to round up a tad. And yes, there is some math involved in this segment. Luxury tax threshold, Sam, for 2024 are 237, 257, 277, and 297, with increasingly sharp penalties for surpassing each of those 4 thresholds. Now let's zoom in on that 277 number, because once you hit 277, that means you sacrifice draft position, which Jed Hoyer has given no indication of being interested in doing. So if they're at 199 and 277 is where you get those harsher penalties, let's say that's the max that they would go. Then let's work back a little bit. They would want to leave about 10 M's for in-season pickups, which means their off-season ceiling right now, in theory, is about 267 M's. So that leaves a total of 68 M's to spend between now and March 28th, more likely between now and Valentine's Day, which was announced on Wednesday. That's when pitchers and catchers report. If the Cubs get to that 267 number, that would put them at the 5th highest payroll in the sport. Mets are 1, Yankees 2, Dodgers 3, Braves are 4. The current Cubs at 199 M's put them at 10th in payroll. Sam, 68 M's sounds really good to spend on Bellinger plus.
I don't think that's. I think the goal is for them to get over 237.
So you're saying 237.
The first luxury tax threshold. I don't see them
to the next tier or just that one
right there.
Okay.
So that would leave them with what, about 38 million to spend?
Exactly, 38 M's. Wow.
That's where they're going to be. They're going to spend about 22 to 24 on Bellinger, and then the rest will be on relievers, or maybe an in-season move, and then the rest will be trades. Remember, the whole reason they didn't go over the first threshold last year, they had a bullpen. They wanted to go get bullpen help, and they're like, we're not going over the luxury tax threshold, not for this team, and it cost them a postseason spot.
Well, and if they leave room for in-season acquisitions, then it was, again, if you're using my calculations.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I got something wrong with my shoe.
Oh.
Then it really would be 227 then, which is only 28 to spend.
I don't think you have to leave 10 for in-season.
Okay.
But I'm just saying.
All right. Well, what do I know?
No, I'm just all I've heard from people is that first luxury tax threshold.
All right, so let's just stick with the 237 number then.
But that's what I want to talk about.
Because 277's high.
No, that's what I want. Well, they're not going to be the number one payroll in baseball this year. Now,
they would be fifth if they got to that.
I think they need to be in the top 5, 6, 7. But that's the problem.
Well, there you go.
Does that bother people? It should. It should.
The difference between 5 and 10 is a lot.
Well, and again, I can't emphasize this enough. They didn't go out and trade for an additional reliever last year because they didn't want to go over the luxury.
Right. That's huge.
And it cost you a playoff spot. So,
right.
Now are they saving that time to go over the luxury tax for when they feel like they're ready to win a championship? I don't know. But what I do know is that if Bellinger's the only guy that they spend big money on this offseason, every fan has the right to be a little bit confused because Wrigley's packed and Starbucks is packed and Crumble Cookie's going to be packed. And, it's all, the winter wonderland. I mean, John Heyman was talking about his daughter ice skating on Wrigley. It's all going to be packed. So there's no reason for you to be able to have your cake, which is develop the prospects and develop players, and then eat it as well by having a really good team in 2024.
More like have your crumble cookie and eat it too.
And spend a little bit of money because I know I saw, I've been trying to get rooftop tickets for Nick's bachelor party.
Yeah, how's that going?
And those aren't cheap.
Aren't those 3 digits right away?
Oh, 3 digits.
Well, plus, per person.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is it close to 200?
For Cubs Cardinals, there's
Cubs Cardinals. Yeah, it's gonna be like $1,000 a person.
Wait, no, can't we have a big show. You can't spread false info.
Oh, okay.
It's not false, but it's in that 2 range. Sure.
So it starts with the 2. All right.
Yeah. But
for Nick, it's worth it.
It's a great experience. We love it. Thanks. No, it is. It is cool to go to the rooftop, but it's
all right.
pricey.
So Bellinger, let's say, is that 6 for 150.
Mm-hmm.
So then that's 26 M's a year. So that means they have 12 M's to spend to that first luxury tax.
Yeah, maybe a reliever, maybe a trade. I don't know. Maybe they go over the first luxury tax. They better. I'm not saying they're not gonna. They better, but I'm just saying that's the number to look at. 267. They're not going.
Yeah, that's pie in the sky. I'm not even sure what I was thinking.
Yeah, no, they're just
crumble cookies in the sky. So.
Yeah, maybe you're thinking about having one of those, frosted sugar cookies.
Coming up next, let's get into how much would it take. We haven't done that in a while, Sam. Stay tuned.
Okay.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs are here. There is still plenty of time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet. Like with the live same-game parlay, you can find bets in the new Explore tab, and you can even make one of those parlays in the Parlay Hub and more. Let's see the lines for Saturday and Sunday. Texans, Ravens.
Ravens by 9.5.
Which I believe we're going to get together for. 3:30 kick on ABC. Wow. Old school.
9.5.
Ravens 9.5.
Oh,
Packers
well,
Niners.
I'm guessing them. Niners.
Oh, wow.
Niners -10.
9. Sunday then, Bucks Lions.
Lions by 6.
Correct. And then Chiefs Bills.
Buffalo by a field goal.
That's correct. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the Locked On Podcast Network.
I didn't see those either.
We finish up with how much would it take?
Niners are only by 9. That's not a good sign. I thought that'd be in the 10.5 range.
Oh, wow.
Hey, before we get into how much would it take, I just want to do a quick bonus best of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Today's one of my heroes, one of, in my opinion, the greatest sports icon of all time, Muhammad Ali's birthday, the late, great Muhammad Ali. Spend some time tonight. Watch the Rumble in the Jungle. Watch the Thrill in Manila. This was a man before it was cool and trendy on social media to stand up for what you believed in. He did that. One of my all-time favorites. Loved reading and watching and learning about the late, great Muhammad Ali. Let's get into how much would it take.
That's great. The real field temperature reached -40 earlier this week. Sam, how much would it take for you to do a live podcast outdoors?
Well, in that temperature?
In our current conditions.
Well, right now,
the real feels like 10.
Yeah, just in the winter. I mean, this isn't really specific.
Yes, in the winter.
Oh, not that much. I think that'd be fun. Bundle up. If it's, I could do 40 below. We'll all pass on. But if it's something like this where it's like 17, 18 and the real feels 10, I don't know. Give me $250. We'll have a nice time.
How much would it take for you to adopt a new NFL team and never again follow the Bears?
I couldn't do it. You're basically asking me how much would it take for my father to dison me.
Right. It's in your blood, despite the misgivings.
Yeah, and the newfound apathy.
Right.
How much would it take for you, Matthew, to have been shirtless at that Chiefs-Dolphins game Saturday night where the real feel was about 25 below?
So let's see, about 3.5 hours outside?
3.5 hours outside. There were some shirtless fans. It was the third coldest game in NFL history. I couldn't put a price on it. I would not make it. So.
I would say 10,000.
No way.
Yeah.
You would watch that whole game shirtless in those dangerous temperatures for only $10,000? Mine would have to.
I don't think I'm thinking straight.
Mine would have. Well, you're talking about a surefire hospital trip. You know how cold that is, man?
Wait, it was what was the temperature?
The kickoff was -3 and the real feel was in the 20s, 30s. Shirtless for 3.5 hours, not moving. I think mine would have to be in the millions. And I don't even think I'd do it. I think I'd
$1 million.
Yeah. Do you know how disgusting that is? It's freezing.
Yeah, I can't comprehend it anymore.
$10,000? I don't think I'd go for $10,000 if I could wear a hoodie. It's freezing out there.
There's a lot of laughs here in the last two.
I'm serious. If you told me
I would say 500 G's.
If you said, hey, I'll give you $10,000 to go to that game and you could wear a hoodie with a t-shirt under and sweats, I'm not sitting in there. I'm going to get, You're talking about pneumonia. You're talking about frostbite.
I don't really like going to football in person anyway.
No, exactly.
So
but
you're right. You're right.
Can I ask you a Cub question?
Yeah, I guess.
And then we can get out of here.
Yeah.
How much would it take for you to come on the air and genuinely be positive and have no negative if the Cubs don't make any more moves the rest of the year? And this is the team. And they start the year 11th in payroll.
Yeah, that would be disappointing.
And you have to tell all the listeners that you like this, you support this, and let's do this.
Yeah, I don't know if I can even put a number on it.
Yeah, it'd be really rough.
We're diehard fans. This is something that we just love doing each and every day.
Mine would be Jed Hoyer's salary.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Whatever he gets paid.
I already sketched out the lineup with Bush in it And there's a lot of holes. PCA
and you're
center,
not talking about
Bush
you're not talking about Shia LaBeouf.
Morel at DH, Madrigal at third.
He was in a movie called Holes for those younger listeners.
Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes, and we'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two, or sometimes 20, feels like, along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube as we make the push to 8,000 subs, and smash the like button for the algorithm. That's really important for search results. Shout out to the audio peeps on Apple, Spotify, and more. We'll be back next week. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
There is
happy
momentum
birthday,
here.
Muhammad.